What is up, guys? How's it going? Thanks for everyone for joining on what is an exciting day. The new album out. Holy shit, it's awesome, right? Um, can you all hear me? Well, hey, yeah, let's get right down to it. I hope you all can hear me. So the new album is awesome. I'm really liking it. Yeah, I'm new to this. Thanks. Um, I'm really loving it. I don't know about you all. Um, it really starts off things like right off the bat, really strong with psycho shit. Letting us know right from the beginning, expect the void. Um, like it's super dissonant, super dark, has a key change within like the first 8 measures, in the 6 bar. And Julian obviously dials the auto tune up to a level that I don't know if he's trolling or whatever, but, obviously the auto-tune is auto-tune louder, and it's really crazy, and definitely a lot of references to Void's work, right? Like, it kinda sounds like, Pointlessness, particularly the sort of, like, guitar part where it has that kind of Baroque minor key sound, um, kind of Bach-like, where it's like, that really dark sound, but, um, but very Voids-like, and it, uh, and I think it even references things like "Unholy Lover," like, there's a lyric in there where he says, "Women adore me," or something along those lines, I think we talked about this, in the Discord about, like, John or Jimmy, Jimmy John, I'm not sure what your real name is, but, he put together a bingo for the listening, and, definitely one of the things we had on there was Void's lyrical references, um, and the kind of censoring of the word fuck, like, he would kind of censor himself, and he did all that. Um, yeah, it really checked off all the boxes pretty quickly about, how voidsy we're gonna get, how fast. Um, yeah, really great album opener. Definitely not very Strokes album opener, right? Like, a lot of the Strokes album openers in the past have been, uh, just like the lead single, um, and, or lead single type material, right? And it's more like an Unholy Lover type of intro, setting the stage, same chord progression the whole way through, um, it's really sick. Um, yeah, I'm really curious what you all think. The chat is really going off, which is awesome. I'm really stoked to see this, to be honest with you. Um, what do you all think about, like, so what was the first thing that really stood out to you about Psycho Shit? Like, what stood out to you about that? My dog wanted to come in. Um, so someone said, "I didn't like Psycho Shit, thought it had a good atmosphere, but doesn't from there." Yeah, it has the same chords the whole way through. It's sort of like a builder, um, where all of it is in the delivery, uh, in terms of, like, the Julian anticipation, and, like, one of the things I really respect about Julian's writing is his melodies just, like, are constantly changing. I talked about that for the Falling Out of Love video, kind of response to that, and, today I was trying to learn all the songs, and, you know, it was hard. I was really stoked that this album's really goddamn interesting, like, so many cool ideas, and I started off trying to write, uh, let's see, like, I just spent too much time trying to write down the vocal melodies for Psycho Shit, and I was realized at some point I need to keep going to the next song. So, that being said, like, I think to your point, you know, that it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. It's like a volume swell, like, it's like a builder that really kind of creates the tension by Julian's vocal melody going higher and higher, and there really are some really great melodies in here, uh, and it's definitely I think it could be a grower if you don't maybe like it at first, hopefully it'll grow on you. You know, if you don't like it, that's also fine, but, uh, like Mr. Hornet Magic 91, good to see you, bro. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for tuning in. Psycho Shit, good tone setter. I definitely agree. Good tone setter, good, good tone setter. Really sets the stage for the album. Because I think that on other parts of the album, you still do get some pretty Strokes standard songs. Going to Babylon has the, you know, secret sauce, the famous chord progression, which we'll get to later. But, you know, there is a lot of classic Strokes in here, and it made sense that they started with Psycho Shit to set the scene that, like, it's gonna be a weirder Strokes album. It's not like any Strokes album you've heard before. Um, so yeah, I hear that, Grape Girl. I agree. It is down tempo for an opener. It's not a usual, Strokes opener for an album, that's for sure. It definitely felt more like Unholy Lover or something like that. Um, I don't know, this is an interesting question. Sorry. Uh, what would be a better album opener, right? Uh, I don't know that Psycho Shit could be anything but an album opener though, right? Like, it's kind of has a sort of jammy quality by being, just chord progression on loop, but, you know, would that make it a fit anywhere else on the album? Maybe like an interlude? Um, Dine and Dash for an album opener? I actually would agree. That would be a good album opener. A lot of people have thought about the, similarities rhythmically to something like, The Adults Are Talking. I think I saw that comment around a lot, and, um, you know, it definitely is also reminiscent of, like, Square Wave, so it has that kind of 2nd track on the album, um, kind of energy, so it fit there, but I think, yeah, Dine and Dash would be a good album opener. I could see that. Um, very Joy Division. Yeah, I could see that. But yeah. So, I mean, the chords, by the way, if you're interested, um, it's actually pretty wild for Psycho Shit. So, my interpretation of it is that it's, uh, a B minor, so it's in the key of D, and then it has, like, this crazy tritone, um, then it goes down here, goes back up, uh, then it goes down to the E diminished. So, really cool stuff, and the part, though, is it's like classic Julian writing, in that the bass is super important to establishing the chords. So, for example, There's that C tritone here later on. Let me put the So when it goes to there, it's just kind of a dark chord, but the, uh, bass plays an A, so it actually makes it an A7 chord, which makes it the 5 of the D, the key of D. So it actually makes a lot of sense and really works, and, it kind of doubles it and goes to the E. Sorry, it's a lot of tune there. And so, the bass then plays an F sharp when it goes to that E diminished. So it's kinda like an alt chord, which is like a kind of 7 like a 5/7 chord you would use in, like, a minor key. So, really cool key change there to do that. Um, so really inventive, right? To have this key change built into this repeating 4, 4 measures, the beginning of the 4th measure, so 8 measures in total. Um, so really cool stuff. And, yeah, so some of the, like, I think it might this is kinda what happened with the, Falling Out of Love video. It's like the the melodies themselves are kind of overlooked sometimes, um, and, like, so it goes like this, if I remember correctly. Gotta try to So learning this in a day was hard. I'd probably have to try to jam along with it. Maybe I'll do it more later. I'm told that, it'll shut down the live stream if I do that, so, um, yeah. First 10 seconds of every song was fine, then weird. Also, the first 10 seconds of every song was pretty weird too. Um, so yeah. So Psycho Shit, crazy song, really adventurous, obviously. The auto-tune feature there, uh, is so what you can do with an auto-tune is make it so it pitch corrects slowly or quickly, um, and so it's more natural to have it correct slowly, and what Julian obviously is doing here is he has it set to, uh, correct really snap the notes into place very quickly. So, it has that kind of sound that I think people don't super dig, the warbly sound perhaps, but, you know, uh, Julian is clearly having fun with this one. And by the way, I don't know if you guys checked it out, but, he had an interview with Bill Burr, and, uh, it's pretty informative, right? So, actually, he said that most of the songs were songs that he wrote and brought to the band, and only really the last 2 songs, um, Fruits of Conquest, I believe, second to last, penultimate, and, Tyrants of the Moon, those were written in Costa Rica, or rather the Mellow Moon, one came from, uh that came about from, he said, jamming, but definitely, uh, he said that you could hear the vibe of Costa Rica on, Fruits of Conquest. But the other songs, those sound like Julian compositions. These are definitely songs that Julian wrote, and, like, are the way that he's definitely taking his writing, have his characteristic sounds of, he really likes this tritone, so you'll notice that a lot in these songs too. It's featured a lot on this album, is he will use tritone arpeggiating the guitar, and so you're gonna see that a lot throughout the album, and the bass is an important part of establishing the overall chord function, and the chord progression. So, you can see that definitely in these songs early on that it's a, uh, Julian composition. This is definitely one of those Julian compositions, and, yeah. So yeah, so that's Psycho Shit in a nutshell. Um, really cool song, really dark, great tone setter. Um, let's move on to the next song, which would be Dine and Dash. So Dine and Dash is another song with another, uh, definitely for the chorus. It goes to this beautiful key change. It's basically, um, in the key of C, A minor, and then yeah, let's go down that. Uh, so it's in the key of C or A minor, and the chorus is crazy. It goes to essentially B flat, and, it's really wild, man. Really inventive chord progression. I don't know how he comes up with this. Um, so let's talk about it. But, as a bunch of when we were playing the bingo, of listening bingo, it definitely had a bunch of the kinda things we were looking for, like, uh, studio banter at the end. It had, I think it had, that weird British accent. Uh, Julian is definitely doing a lot more talking singing, rapping thing, so that's definitely more of that. So it definitely checks off a bunch of boxes. So Dine and Dash, it's do I have this on? Yeah. Pretty cool sound. And so the bass is like a walking bass, um, and really, changes the sort of functions of those chords. And I think also one thing that's really cool about this album is that Julian is sort of like introducing, uh, like, new tricks in his bag, so to speak, like, new vocal styles, new, ways of singing and projecting, and, um, like, to me, I think someone else pointed this out, uh, there's a very Radiohead influence, definitely on these chord progressions, but also in the delivery there. Sounds very Tom Yorkish, right? To have that melody. Um, it's very Tom Yorkish. Let's see here. So that's, definitely a vocal melody that Tom York has used in the past, and he kinda delivers in a Tom York kinda style, and we know that Julian, has referenced the fact that he was a big, uh, admirer of Radiohead. So, I think you can sorta hear that here, and, um, I think it's a cool album because Julian is definitely trying out a bunch of new things vocally, uh, and yeah, the falsetto, as, Wisco was saying, is the falsetto in the chorus is really gorgeous. It's very delicate in the way it's delivered, um, and it is really nice. I definitely agree. Um, and the bass line on this one is really important and really great. So uh ooh, that's a good comment. So Ariel says, "I'd like to have seen Goodrich produce an album instead of Rick Rubin." Yeah, um, I definitely like this album better than The New Abnormal. Um, The New Abnormal sort of had the, classic rock vibes, and this is definitely the experimental album after the classic rock album. Um, and it makes sense that they did it with Rick Rubin, uh, but yeah. TNA is a classic, yeah, I don't it's not my favorite Strokes album. Room on Fire would probably be my favorite, and then Is This It? Um, and maybe First Impressions, um, then maybe TNA. So, you know, I know people love TNA, has some great songs, but it's, um, you know, it brought in a bunch of new fans, which is great for the band. Um, Selfless is an amazing song, Ode to the Mets is an amazing song. Um, Shelter Talking, great songs. So, I mean, it's a great album, but I'm glad that they went this direction. I think it's sort of a, kinda standard thing. A lot of times rock bands will do this now, where they maybe have a big breakthrough album, and then they, 20 years later, they have this breakthrough album, and then the album after that, um, they'll get experimental again, um, and it definitely seems like that might be happening, but also it's Julian for you anyway, so, like, we already know that he was experimenting with all these things on, the Void's albums. So, uh, makes sense that they went this way. Um, but so the chorus to Dine and Dash, it goes to F, C, it has this F chord with over an A, and it goes to this A, well, actually more of a dominant, and then it goes to the B, and so the bass line establishes so, really crazy key change there to be doing that. Uh, so to be doing that, being in the key of A minor and then essentially switching to the key of, um, ultimately, it's sort of in the key of F, and he goes to A major, like, crazy idea, and then to go to a B flat, never do me, and dash, E minor, so I really like that chord choice there because very, non-harmonically predictable. It's definitely what would be called a non-functional chord choice there to go to that E minor, and then it goes to the E major, which is a very Julian, thing that he's been using a lot. It's definitely in the chorus. He's been doing a lot in, voice work, and it's moving to the parallel major, the parallel minor, and, uh, it's sort of a classical definitely a more classical way of doing things, a classical composition style, which we familiar with, having studied that. So, it's another song where he E minor, E major, so really cool stuff, and, the second time around, essentially the vocal in the second part of the second verse changes, and, uh, let's see. It essentially figures out a different way it goes ascending, so before it was he goes up, for the bridge. He goes it's this, essentially, I would probably think of it it's sort of like like an A flat. You can sort of think of it if we're in A minor, it'd be like a flat 9, which is, one of the probably harmonic minor modes that he kinda talks about. He's been more interested definitely of working with, harmonic major and harmonic minor scales and modes, and you can hear that there. A lot of his singing on this album, is definitely inspired by that. He's talked about how he, like, heard Arabic pop music being played in, while he's traveling and kind of auto-tune pitch correction, uh, is definitely something I think he's trying to emulate with his vocals and using uh, his auto-tune for that, and so it's another example of him using this harmonic minor sound, uh, to add a lot of kind of darkness and tension and, mysteriousness to that 2nd verse. So it's really cool, and then it goes back to the chorus again, and the outro is interesting because the guitars are panned different ways, and they do essentially, they're in harmony with each other, which is not that surprising or anything, but, I thought it was kinda dark and minor, but, together it's actually A major, um, and the bass is playing the G sharp. What's interesting is that Julian kinda switches back and forth between which kind of guitar line he is singing. So, sometimes he's singing the part where it's, let's go this is D, yeah. So he back and forth between what part he's singing, so he's not really pinned down there, and, yeah, it's really just inventive song, has the kinda dark minor chord progression for the verse, and, then goes to this kind of beautiful F, uh, goes to that A, I think it's F, A, so it is that F over the A, and then it goes down to the A major. So it's like a lot of Julian's standard writing techniques now, the parallel major, parallel minor movements, and really slick, like, unusual key changes, going down essentially to A, then stepping up to uh, the key change a step away, half step away. So, really cool stuff. I think I don't know what stands out most to me about this song. Um, I think a lot of people say it's their favorite, and I'd say it's probably my favorite on the album. Um, but yeah, what do you think? I think psych yeah, we just talked a little bit about Psycho Shit, and, it wasn't the most popular, that's for sure. But, what Dine and Dash, yeah, probably gonna be the fan favorite. They played it last night or yeah, last night at, Red Rock, sorry, and, that that version was really sick, and, I think it's might be the next sort of I don't wanna call it single or anything like that, but it's definitely gonna be the next, touring staple. Um, uh, Dine and Dash. I was saying Dine and Dash is gonna be the next kind of tour staple, will be part of the repertoire, and stuff like that. Um, and yeah. So, I don't know, what stands out most to you about Dine and Dash? The melody, the vocal parts that are constantly changing, the chord progressions, um, the I don't know about you guys, but the lyrics were pretty unusual, I think, for Julian. I have never heard him say anything quite so violent before. Um, and we were kinda talking about this in a chat is, who's he talking about? 'Cause there's a lot of hatred in what he was saying. Um, could be a metaphor about war. It did possibly that meaning, but, I don't know, there's a lot of hatred, and I do wonder, who he was talking about, and, I don't know, someone had the theory that he was talking about someone who, his wife cheated on him with, or ex-wife cheated on him with. That's definitely one theory. I don't know, there's a lot of hatred talking about, slitting a guy's throat. You hear, you know, very dark lyric. Yeah, segue to "Lonely in the Future." Is he talking about Fantano? I mean, he's definitely talking about Fantano and "Lonely in the Future." Is he talking about Fantano in, the very violent lyrics of the bridge to "Dine and Dash"? I don't know. But there's something there. Um, uh, yeah, he could not have farted. Um, not in the restroom. Probably not a very nice thing to do. Um, yeah, it's interesting also, I don't always think a lot about the lyrics, but the lyrics on some are interesting in that between this song what is he trying to say here, right? Like, "Dine and dash, we couldn't afford it." Um, I think Julian seems to have a be trying to establish that he, never had it so easy, so I guess he's trying to talk about the year that they had to dine and dash, I don't know, and then obviously the bulk of Lonely in the Future is just about how he's seen this all before and he's used to the hate, and he's had to deal with people hating him his whole being haters his whole life, since he grew up in the public eye, and, I don't know, it definitely seems like there's something he's trying to prove here on the album, or definitely trying to change the image of himself about, right? So, I don't know, very interesting lyrically, Fantano. Should should Julian have dissed Fantano? I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Was that beneath him to do that, Julian? Like, do you guys feel like it was funny, cool? What's your all's vibe on Julian, dissing Fantano in, his track? Because obviously, if you guys don't know already, I'm a Julian stan. Um, I pretty much, you know, I like pretty much anything he does. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Um, so if he wants to diss Fantano, that's fine. Reminds me of good old-fashioned hip hop beef, stuff like that. I've obviously seen comments online that's like, "You don't diss critics," but, I mean, definitely in former hip hop beefs, you would diss any critic who talked about you. So, I don't know. As someone who grew up, with a love of hip hop beefs, um, I'm fine with it, but yeah, okay, here we go. So I think it's a little bit of a delay. I appreciate you all hanging out with me on Friday night, and figure live streaming out. I don't know what I am doing, so I appreciate you being patient with me here. Um, oh, cool, interesting part. Grape Girl says, "Violence capable of Dine and Dash." Yeah, that's probably true. Um, Trying to destroy his enigmatic figure, his being whimsical self more. Yeah, I do see that. He definitely is doing a lot more, silly voices in his videos and his songs now. So, yeah, and then there's something to that, that's for sure. Um, Fabrizio, totally unnecessary, he says. Why give attraction and immortalize his name about Fantano? Um, Nat says, "I really hope that Fantano disc doesn't stop them from playing it live in the future." Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting thing. I don't know. I'm wondering how much Julian is gonna track the response to this, um, and if he's gonna be embarrassed about it ultimately himself, because it does seem from my corner of the internet that I've scrolled that, no one's like, "Yeah, this was great." Um, so I don't know. I think if anything, I think Julian would have no problem changing up the lyric, um, to play it live. I don't think it'll stop him from playing it live, but, they might change it. If it continues to get the sort of negative traction that it has gotten, um, then, he might change it. Keep doing the voice effects, not a big fan. Hoping it stops with the album. Do you mean voice effects in, like, the processing, like the autotune and, he definitely uses a lot of vocal processing effects, autotune, vocoder, chorus. He uses a chorus effect too live. I just saw them at, Meriwether Post Pavilion, and you can hear him talk about it during, uh, One Way Trigger, that, he's like, "Turn off the chorus," stuff like that. So it's um, definitely something that he's live. Autotune. I think he's gonna keep using autotune. I think he's gonna keep using it. So, I have an autotune pedal myself. It's fun. Um, Julian, I think, is a he thinks of himself as a composer, right? I think you guys have all heard this a bunch, but Julian sees himself as a composer, and that's what he kinda wanted to be a rhythm guitarist, but a composer, and I think the ability to kind of come up with all these kind of melodies very quickly and get them into place and out of your head with an autotune pedal, it it's something else. Uh, so I think Julian, there's those, people have been talking about the In Transit, great video, I really fucking loved it. Probably shouldn't cuss, but, I thought it was awesome, and, um in addition to Julian doing a bunch of goofy voices, he also, um, plays keyboards and he plays guitar a bunch, on the in the tapes and the filming. So, I think Julian really does like to have an instrument to express his melodies. I think that's a big part of how he writes. I don't think he just, like, sings and writes it down on paper, and I think the autotune pedal, the autotune effects, I think that's a big part of now how he writes. Um he used, like, a TC Electronic one at one point, and I think he said he didn't like it, so he might be using a different one, but, I think he might just set up with an Auto-Tune pedal and see what melodies come out, you know? So I don't think that'll change, and one of the things I think I've noticed recently with the past few albums is, there's a very demo quality where I think there's, like definitely on this album, and it's really been true of all the Strokes albums, is there's, like, this sort of, like, "We got a good take, it's not the best quality, maybe I got it on my, um, cell phone, but I really like this, so we're gonna use it." And I think there's a part of I think Rick Rubin has actually said that too, which is that, maybe you made a mistake recording it, but if you can't get a better feel out of it, if you can't express it with more feeling, then take the take with an accident and keep it in if you can't do it with better feeling. And all which is to say that I think with the Auto-Tune, there is this sort of we wrote it with Auto-Tune, Julian wrote the song using Auto-Tune, so we're gonna keep the Auto-Tune in, and, so I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's a big part about how Julian writes. I think it's a big part of how he's able to express all his melodic ideas now, and I don't think it's going anywhere. I really don't. Sorry, let's see. So, I heard, the Avenged Sevenfold, very good influence, actually. So, I do need to check that out. Um No, Billy Ball, you make a good point. I mean, it definitely doesn't have to be autobiographical. Uh, surely not. I mean, it definitely could be from a perspective. I do wonder if, like, Dine and Dash is, um I don't know, for some reason I got, like, CIA torture chamber vibes, but I don't know. I know Julian thinks about this stuff as someone who name drops, Chris Hedges, right? So, um, I think Julian probably thinks about, the black sites and all that stuff that the CIA has run. So, um, yeah, definitely doesn't have to be firsthand experience. It could be, other terrible stuff. Surely there's plenty of stuff in the world going on that's terrible. So, yeah, true. Yep, you get to be more poppy. I do not know 100 Gex. I'll have to check 'em out. Parts in Fool where his voice sounds like a staircase in the chorus. Yeah, it is The Invisible War. Julia knows. Uh, staircase, 'cause it's, like, ascending and you can feel each step. That's interesting, I hear what you're saying, actually. Yeah, you can definitely hear the pitch correction, so, yeah, um, definitely hear it. Yeah, the British accent was weird. Not sure what that was about. Julian clearly likes to do voices. "Nice siren," he likes to do, sort of, he did that at some shows recently, like, "My liege," so he definitely likes doing voices. I think much as he doesn't probably wanna let on, he is an entertainer, and he's a good entertainer, and, I think that's part of it. Yeah. Yeah, so I obviously have been watching a lot of Julian videos times that I have been getting Julian, tics, so sorry. Um, Nobody wants to play me anymore. Said something like that. Um, but yeah. So, we should talk about Lonely in the Future. Lonely in the Future starts off with, like, a really cool dark riff, um minor flat that flat 9 again. Flat 9. Really cool dark sound, and then, it's like in this key of B. It goes into G minor, something like that. Sorry, I was working on this earlier. Um, but I think the melody is great, you know? Really great melody. Ooh. Really cool, really great melody. Actually, what's cool is uh, it's like key of B. It's in the key of B, and, yeah, it is really fun, you know? It sucks that, it's getting a kinda bad rap because of the Fantano lyric, but, like, it's a fun song, you know? Like, I don't know, what people call it the bop or whatever, right? I don't know if people still call that anymore, but it's it's a cool song, and, um, it it is, another Secret Sauce song in the key of B flat. Particularly, it's kind of hidden, but the bass line plays the C, so it's essentially the 2 chord, then it goes to the 5 chord, that's the 5 chord, then it goes to the B, it's gonna go to the G, which is the 6th chord. So it's the secret sauce, so I'm glad that he hasn't given that up, and, because he a couple years ago said that he wasn't gonna be using the secret sauce anymore, and, he said that he was gonna use it one more time. I think he didn't say it on the interview what song he was talking about, um, but it seemed like he was talking about Russian Coney Island because that still was a song that had to come out that there's a lot of fan demand for it, so I think it still need to come out. So I kind of thought that that might be it. Um, he might be done with the secret sauce after it, and, glad to see he's not, because I know some people are tired of it, the secret sauce chord progression, but I think he's doing it a different way here. He does use a similar melody, um, Lonely in the Future is actually pretty remarkably similar to, let's see, Going to Babylon, which is definitely a secret sauce tune, also in the key of B flat. So those 2 songs feel very related, and, we'll talk about Going to Babylon in a second. Um, Going to Babylon, I think that feels like the most regular Strokes most it feels like it's off Calm Down Machine, right? Like, I could totally have heard, Going to Babylon on Come Down Machine. Um, but we're talking about, Lonely in the Future. So Lonely in the Future is its secret sauce, um, has some cool guitar riffs, uh, too, obviously. At the end, that guitar solo Such G. Should practice this more. I'm not gonna do it right now. See if we can get that later. But, doo-doo-doo. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so Lonely in the Future, Secret Sauce tune, E flat, nice melodies, really catchy stuff. The verse is like so really cool. Um, so yeah, Lonely in the Future, Secret Sauce. So the next song up on, the album, I believe, I don't have it written down. Falling Out of Love. So we've talked a bit about Falling Out of Love before. It's a A major, kind of like basic roots rock, nice groove, um, you know, a lot of auto-tune, um, based on Someday, nice simple guitar, uh, um, nice simple guitar part. So this is 145, but, still really cool sounding, based on Someday, and, really, still a nice tune. Is there anything we wanna say about it still, uh, we've talked about it a bunch, so it's been out a while. I didn't get to see it live, so I just saw them, last month, and I was at one of the shows where they did not play it, and it's a bummer. Still hasn't been played yet, at the more recent shows either. So, um, Little Brokeback Mountain. Um, yeah, yeah, I can see that, except for the ending, right? The ending gets pretty kooky, where essentially goes to C sharp minor, um, in a kind of really dark sound. I think someone pointed out, that it also has the same intro to Better Call Saul. So, once you hear it, you won't unhear it. It definitely has the same sort of, like, tremolo effect, um, as, Better Call Saul, uh, so, yeah. Okay, so we won't talk about that one anymore. Okay, let's check in on the chat. Santano's one-sided beef with Julian isn't so one-sided anymore. Yeah, um, fuck Fantano. Yeah, I don't think Fantano has a lot of, like, defenders, so it's pretty funny times, right? Like, um, even people who are, like, active in his sub and on his video comments, they don't really like him. It's just they wanna talk about music, so it's, it's pretty funny. Definitely not the most beloved critic by any means. Ooh, wow, "Lonely" is the strongest on the album. That's interesting. It's definitely one of the, um I don't know, strongest, that's an interesting idea. It's definitely really catchy and really, kind of, it's really catchy, and so a really good song like that. and has a lot of parts. So, one thing that's also worth noting, I think one of the things that Julian Casablancas doesn't get enough credit for, and I don't talk about it enough in my videos, to be honest with you, because it's not a sexy topic, but form, song form, it's a huge part of composition, and I think it's the brilliance of Julian's writing is that he has a lot of different ideas of form, and, like, on the album Tyranny, he had this idea that he's pursuing where there'd be, like, these kind of long, um, ambient noise, industrial noise intros, and then guitar riff, and he would, take 6 minutes to have the song come together, and it was just this very delicate, precise way of having the song take shape, and I think it's something that Julian Casablancas doesn't really get enough credit for because he just has different styles of doing it. The early Strokes albums are perfect examples of, like, this simple form where it ends on a sort of shrug, uh, the bass guitar plays a chord, and the drum part will just kind of fade out, but it is a way of ending a song that's unique and understated and really suggests all these ways that Julian knows how to write songs, in their form and how to masterfully write with form. And this is, like, I think comes from his background in composition. Julian studied, classical composition, when he was in college briefly, and this is something that obviously, like, the great composers are masters of, Beethoven and stuff like that. And Julian does name check Beethoven. There are interviews, where Julian has name checked Beethoven. So, um, yeah, clearly it's an influence on him. Clearly, Julian appreciates form and how to write with, having a strong form in mind. And, oh, hell yeah. Tyranny, amazing. That's definitely the 100% the best, um, best Voids album. Okay, but, hold on one sec. I need some coffee. Actually, no, I'll do that later. Um, let's check in. Yeah, Fantano who Myers Remorse, Fruits of Conquest. People do like Virtue better. I do get that. People dig Myers Remorse. Thoughts on Rick Rubin's production? That's a good question. Um, yeah, I mean, there's some footage of him kinda directing Fab on, like, how to drum, which is pretty comical. He's like, "Do that." Um, and, he's sort of the orchestrator, is what Julian has said. He definitely orchestrated, um, all the songs coming together. There were jams again. We do know that, like, on The New Abnormal, there was a lot of jamming to compose, and it does sound like they fleshed out a bunch of these ideas to, uh that Julian brought in. Julian brought in these ideas. He said something about, like, there was issues with publishing, and there was questions about, like, how they're gonna deal with publishing, the publishing companies. So they didn't, um they didn't, have other people bring in songs. Mainly, um So it's mainly Julian's compositions. So I think Julian, brought them in, I think they jammed on them to bring it out. Um, some of the sounds, the tones are weird. I do like the way he directed them on terms of tone, like, I think he has a cool idea for tone. It was mixed better. At times, I didn't like the way the Normal was mixed because, things submerged, that it kind of was, his famous wall of sound is like, it's hard to separate some of the voices, and the different musical parts, and I think on this album, it's better in that sense. It's definitely mixed better. It's definitely, um, produced better in that way. It's worth noting, by the way, that people had speculated that they reprinted the reason why the album was delayed was because of, Albert said that it was because they changed the song title for Silence of the Mellow Moon, but Julian did say in this recent interview that came out yesterday, came out, I think when they're on their way to Red Rock, that, the real reason, at least according to him, the reason why it was delayed was because, um, they had to mix it. They were continuing to mix it, up until, uh, a month before, so that's, one of the reasons. So, I don't know, they definitely kind of were very perfecting it, very much focused on perfecting it, and, so, I don't know, what do you guys think about the production on this album? Do you guys like the way Ruben produced this album? Do you think although I did see a funny comment, um, from our 7 Foot Starfish, uh, going Happy fame, uh, Rick Rubin doesn't do any actual production. Yeah, it does sound like he is maybe a con man? I don't know. People seem to like him. He's definitely a sort of executive kind of, producer in the sense of he keeps people focused, but apparently he doesn't know anything about music, so he says he doesn't. Definitely, I would be curious. I didn't see it as much in the In Transit 2 video, but it does sound like and he did this with the Chili Peppers as well, so I saw someone talked about the Chili Peppers. But one of the things that I think Ruben was useful for the Chili Peppers for was the Chili Peppers wrote pretty much everything via jamming. Sometimes they'd come up with an idea on their own, but a lot of their songs, uh, were just assembled via jams, and they would actually have battles. If you guys are Chili Peppers fans, I'm a big Chili Peppers fan, they would go into separate rooms, Flea and Shante go in separate rooms and write different parts, come together and battle essentially for who had the better part. And, essentially Rick Rubin's role with the Chili Peppers was to piece the parts together into a song. And Julian has said that Rick Rubin is good at that, that Rick Rubin can divide melodies up into parts and put them in an order that Julian wouldn't have thought of, but Julian appreciated. He said that that happened with Eternal Summer, that he played Rubin Eternal Summer, and that this melody, that they used for, like, I think he said the chorus even, was actually came together because Rick Rubin pieced it together. So, that is part of Rick Rubin's production style. Was that used here? It's too soon to say. The interviews that we've seen so far, and there hasn't been a lot, um, they haven't indicated whether that's what they did, but it does seem like that's what they did. There's a good video out there you can find where Rick Rubin talks about, it was a little bit of part A, and then we add it and then, organize it like that. I think it's what they're working on At the Door and/or, um, Nuts, but you guys probably all know the video. I mean, um Oh, thank you for the hearts. Um, that's a good question. So, I understand why would publishing companies affect who composed? So, I'm no expert on this, so, I do think though that, like so when you, like, open, like, the liner notes or whatever, it'll tell you one way of, like, essentially getting it, distributed later on is with the songwriting credits, and, I don't know. It might be a cop out. I'm not sure. I don't know. Um, it's gonna be something to keep an eye on, but it does sound like this is a mainly a Julian composed album because of that. Um, harmonic minor. Um, so that's true too. Julian sold his publishing a few years ago. He sold his, rights to the back catalog. He did do that, which I think a lot of people are doing. Um, I think it's like a time to sell, um, which is what I don't know. I don't know. Sounds very polished, and I think that's Rick. He's more of a director than a producer. Yeah, yeah, that does make sense to me. I think in a producer the producer in a record setting is supposed to be the person you, like, say, "I wanna do this. How do we do this?" And they bounce ideas off you, and they give you other ideas like, "Yeah, this should be stronger, this should be like that." I do think he does that where he's like, "Ah, this should be stronger, this could be stronger." Um, but yeah, one of the characteristic sounds of his style is it being very polished, um, and very compressed. Famously, his music is very compressed, um, and kinda distorts. So, yeah, um, Ruben is the real music critic. Yeah, Dine and Dash Love, we got some so, yeah, I'm hearing a lot of love for, Liars, uh, Dine and Dash, um, cool. I mean, so it sounds like there's a lot of different opinions about, like, favorite songs on this album. I didn't recall someone saying that, Going to Babylon was a little boring to them, but, I think people are gonna like that song. I think that's gonna be a song that appeals to, um, a lot of Strokes fans. I feel like that'll be the one that Strokes fans dig, you know? Yeah, that's a good point about publishing. Well, I mean, they still make money, I think from catalog. It's more just like, I think it's kinda like a you're getting an advance on it, so to speak. I think, you're selling high, so, like, you can collect a slow stream of money from the publishing rights to your songs, but I think what's going on this is a big thing that's going on in the music industry in general. A lot of bands are selling their songs, and essentially it's they're selling high. There's a bunch of companies that are buying, these songs, and, I think there's a lot of money going around right now for it, so I think artists are selling it because they've never been offered more money for their catalogs before, so it's sort of like an advance on your future royalties. I think it's mainly how it works, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, so and for songwriting credits, I've been listening on, Apple, uh, sorry, and, it credits Julian mainly. There's no, it doesn't have the Strokes, it doesn't have, any of the other members. It does have Greg Alexander on the 2 songs, which that's interesting. Um, so that will be something I have to look more into, um, and, yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that too for the production. It's a very busy, um so if you, like, watch the In Transit video, you can see that it's a little bit of a hodgepodge, uh, weirdly assembled vocal booth that they brought there. I can't remember some weird name. Julian did, like, a German impression, but, Das Boot, I wanna say, and, it didn't look the best, right? So I think there's some sonic bleeding through the booth and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I think surprisingly there are some warts on the album in terms of, stuff in the background, particularly in the vocals. Um, I don't know, kind of adds character. Definitely that's true of the first Strokes albums, right? Is there's a lot of kind of character in the sort of live style that they recorded the albums. Um, yeah, and I do think some of the background textures are intentional. That's been true of them before as well, where, like, if you listen it's I think this is gonna be another one of those Strokes albums that really, rewards repeat listenings and with, like, headphones. So I was listening on my headphones, and you, like, subtly hear a second voice that Julian is doubled or something like that, and, um, I think some of those textures, as you're saying, Mr. JP, I do think those are intentional, yeah. Um, favorite riff or harmonic moment in the album? Um, the riff on "Going to Babylon," um, is really sick. So I have this on no, sorry. Like, kinda reminds me of, great riff that is, Bad Decisions. Not my favorite song on the new Abnormal, but it does have a great guitar riff, and, it's a good riff. I mean, that's probably my favorite riff on the album, super melodic, super catchy. I mean, that's a great riff, right? So that's definitely mine, my favorite riff on the album. Might be basic, I can be a simple guy. I don't know, what do you think? I mean, in terms of harmonic moment, this is gonna be a weird thing, but, one of the things I me personally about music and listening to music, one of the reasons why I get pretty obsessed with it, if you didn't know, is I like patterns, and there is stay tuned because I'm still working out all the different chord progressions, um, but there is, like, this sense of, like, throughout the whole album, there are shared chords, like, so there's, like, uh, tunes that are in the kind of key of B minor and have that go to, like, this E major, and so that's on the opening track, Psycho Shit. It has that kind of harmonic movement, and the outro song, Tyrants of the Mellow Moon, also has this moment where it's, uh, in the intro, it has, like, this kind of darker sound and then goes to a E major chord. It's a really I don't wanna say concept album, 'cause it's not. I definitely don't think it's a concept album, but there's definitely, like, this sort of underlying idea of, like, the shared harmonic language throughout the whole album that really kinda glues it together and makes it very cohesive for me, so I really love that. It has, like, these arpeggiated chord progressions, um, that featured, like, that kind of movement to that E major, even though it's, like, a weird it modulates to an E major kind of thing. It borrows the chord of the E major. So, that'd definitely be my harmonically favorite thing, kind of the big picture of it. Probably was something I'll have to do more research on it of how it pops up, but definitely is, like, this harmonic language that underlines the whole album. So, yeah. Um, great question, though, thank you. Strokes are only credit on going shopping. Okay, that's good to know. I didn't look too closely at that one today, so I didn't remember. Straggly Rock. I do like this album, but I thought it would be less than New Abnormal by about 1/10 of a point, 4.7 to 4.6. Really enjoyed it, really get the critics. Yeah, I I really like this album. I really like it a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just grateful for new music in general, you know? I always love having new music, but, like, when I first heard Psycho Shit, it's like, "We're back. We're back, baby," you know? Um, it's a great album. It's really held together, like, with solid glue, very cohesive. Um I mean, I think my, like, least favorite song is "Going Shopping," you know? So, even then it grows on you, right? I didn't really like it when I first heard it as a single. It really didn't have enough going on to me, and, you know, I was like, I'll wait and see what the album turns out to be, and, you know, it turned out that, our patience was rewarded because it's a really weird album in a beautiful way. So, you know, I never lost faith in Julian, and the Strokes there. So, definitely was rewarded for the patience for, you know, being like, "Well, it's, you know, this is kind of a bop," but, yeah, I do hear that. "We're the kids in America." Yeah, that's the kind of vibe. So, I don't know, I really liked it, but, I don't know, I would put it ahead of The New Abnormal, but that's me. Ahead of The New Abnormal. I think it's a more interesting album. The chord progressions are more interesting. I'm a sucker for key changes. I am. I love key changes, uh, and there really were none on, The New Abnormal, unless you wanna count, like I don't when you go to a 6 chord, some people might say you're moving to a, you know, the minor key, the relative minor. That's I mean, oftentimes, harmonically, it still is basically the same key. It's acting as a 6 chord, it's not acting as a 1 chord. So, anyways, a lot of people, I don't think understand how keys work, but, um, just, like, there's so many great key changes on this album, and, um, yeah. Uh, where is that? find it easily. Oh shit, I have this one. I'm gonna get lost. Sorry. Okay. Oh, so my guitar. I don't normally talk about my guitar, but I actually this is a Gibson ES-335. So I love it very dearly. It could use some repairs. They don't make them like they used to, as it turns out. But you know, I love it. Great feel, great tone. The feel is the most important thing to me. But that's I do not have. I know it looks like the Evan Riviera sort of, um, but it has the pick guard, so it doesn't look exactly like it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Rick Rubin talks about feel, so when Will's voice cracks, you prefer to have it original. Yeah, I agree. There's a bunch of when I was trying to transcribe the melodies for the verse, there's a bunch of times where there essentially is no pitch to the note. I would write it as like a kind of X, you know, like a percussive tone, um, and it's on like, "Falling Out of Love." There's a bunch of songs where it has that sort of percussive delivery to it because it's clipped, like, as it goes through the auto-tune, it lost its pitch or something, like it didn't, come through. That is the nature of auto-tune, and, yeah, I think Rick Rubin has preferred that they try to keep the live, spontaneous energy, so even if it has its imperfections, I think they keep it in, and, yeah, so definitely agree with that. There are some, like, weird, idiosyncrasies to how auto-tune works live, and I think as they recorded it, it would break or Julian's voice would clip in it, and they keep it in even though it's not technically perfect, but it's not really what they're going for, and so I think that's a good point. That is one of the things that Rick Rubin brings to, working with the Strokes is, uh, trying to catch a kind of live sound. They wrote a lot of their songs from jamming, and I think you're still trying to capture the energy of, like, a live band. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. Oh, hey, thanks for dropping in. Yeah, harmony would have yeah, so, Uriel says, "Can't really join the live stream right now. Hoping I'll do some breakdown videos." We'll definitely be doing lots of breakdown videos. There's really no good time to talk about this, but I'll do it now, which is my plan is to do a video on each one of these songs because I love each one of these songs, and I love, learning these songs and kind of learning from the master, the GOAT, as we talk about Julian. Um, he's just, like, my favorite composer of this era, rock and roll songwriter, and I love analyzing his music and understanding how it works because he's an original, unique voice, and, yeah, so there will be plenty of breakdown videos to go. Uh Yep, I'm gonna do every song on the album. There's I am happy. Today I tried to learn the full album, and I could not. Um, I didn't really think I would be able to, but I tried, and, it's because the album was much more complex than I would have thought, to be honest with you, for, The Strokes. Um, this is definitely one of the more complex albums they've ever made, musically, harmonically, key changes, uh guitar riffs, all the variety in the melodies, um, it it's there's so much to break down, Um, so definitely stay tuned. We'll be making, uh, we'll make videos on all these songs. So thanks for asking. I do appreciate you bringing it up. Thanks for dropping in. Um, I do appreciate any of you. Thanks all guys, any of you joining me on a Friday night. I really appreciate you spending this time with me, and, hopefully, when you're done, you'll go and listen to the album some more, and like I've been doing all day, do it. Uh, you've been seeing a lot of negative criticism of the album all day. It's unfortunate. Uh, oof, okay, I didn't know that. I have not actually not I've been trying to avoid, um I've been trying to avoid online because I was kinda busy learning the songs, um, so I hadn't heard that, but they're lost. I think, kinda like what people have said, I think it'll grow on people, you know? I think it'll grow on people. I think with a lot of Strokes albums, people don't dig it at first, and then it grows on them, right? So, give it a couple years, it'll grow on them. Um, yeah. Oh, the infrequent, releases. I don't know. That's a good I mean, I would prefer more Strokes albums more often. I definitely think they have enough material. Julian says that he, like, has too many songs that he knows what to do with, so love to hear them. He's also talked about how he wants to maybe do a soundtrack one day, so that would be really cool. I'd love to hear him do a soundtrack. So, I definitely would love to hear them do some more albums, um, but I don't think it I don't think it helps, I don't think it hurts them that they listen frequently. Um, so I would prefer more Strokes music. It's just there's that. Um, Julian did say he said it was a little bit of a joke, but he did say in this recent interview, uh, whenever they need money, they tour. That's, how bands make money nowadays is by touring, and he said that, was like, "Oh, well, we should tour for money. We need to put out an album so we have a reason to tour." He said he was joking, but, um, you know, I would love to hear more Strokes stuff. Well, so for me well, thank you. That's really nice of you to say. Um, I'm just an obsessive fan. I studied music in school, a while ago, and, I studied jazz piano. So my my, my music education is mainly about jazz, actually. I Last time I studied classical theory was, high school. So I mainly work on jazz theory. So, it's one of the reasons I think where I like the Voids and Julian's writing so much. There's that, yeah. Yeah, so new Void stuff. They say that they've been working on new Void stuff, so who knows? We'll probably hear more Void stuff soon. Um Hey, buddy. Um, yeah, it is interesting. No producers have really given him a chance, you know? Um, sorry. Yeah. Uh, yeah. My dog Balto is, scratching the ground, sorry. I'm on dog duty tonight. Um, yeah, there's a lot of hate. I don't get it. I mean, there's definitely people use the strokes, um, people definitely use the strokes to get, uh, attention. So, everyone's negative about Julian and Autotune. Everyone has a take. Um, yeah. Um, so, yeah, we talked about going to Babylon. Um, it's also Secret Sauce, Secret Sauce, in the key of B flat. So it's kind of a similar song to, um, Lonely in the Future. Um, Liar's Remorse. So Liar's Remorse is another it has one of these cool so another thing, that I think Julian uses a lot, he's been using even more, is, it's another Radiohead thing actually, but it's using a major 3 chord. So just kind of to say quickly, uh, generally the 3 chord is a minor chord, it's not very stable, I don't know, it's not a very harmonically useful chord, but Radiohead has used major 3 chord in some of their chord progressions, and Julian likes to use a major 3 chord in some of his progressions, he used it on some Void stuff. So Liar's Remorse has this major 3 chord in there, with this F sharp minor, it goes to D, E major, and then it goes to this C sharp 7. So, kinda cool, kinda different sounding. You could think of it as also being a flat 6 chord, but that Julian likes to use that major 3 chord, so I think it makes more sense to think of it as that. Sounds really nice. And then really, it kinda reminds me this song, Liar's Remorse, I saw some love for it early on. Um, Liar's Remorse reminds me a lot of Seven Horses. Seven Horses has, like, a slight, um, I don't call it reggae vibe, but some sort of offshoot of reggae? I don't know. It has a reggae-esque vibe, and obviously the delivery of Liar's Remorse, Julian's vocal is very, um, it's like swing to it, um, and, it's another example of Julian, like, doing another vocal thing on this album. He does weird impressions, but then he also you know, has new tricks. Like, he's added more vocal delivery styles on the new album. Like, he's figured out new ways to do things. Um, and this is another example. I don't to my knowledge, he's never sung like this before, with a sort of, like, reggae delivery. Um, so that's cool. Um, Definitely cool to see them leaning into it to do that. Yeah, Jules is a huge Bob Marley fan. Julian has said that, like, he's his favorite songwriter. There's been interviews different times, Julian will name drop, Bob Marley, he'll name drop, Stevie Wonder, sometimes he'll name drop Miles Davis, so clearly dude has, like, impeccable taste. You can't disagree with any of those goats. Oh, yeah, Lou Reed for sure. Um, but, uh, yeah, he says that Bob Marley is his favorite songwriter, he's said in recent years. So, um, but yeah, so definitely a Radiohead influence on this song. Um, and then so the other chords are, F sharp minor, E major, He goes this way. So it's like a really the chorus to Liars Remorse is really powerful. Someone was saying that earlier, that the chorus is really nice. The whole thing is very a great vibe because it's one of the more powerful songs on the album because of the harmonic movement there and just Julian's delivery. Um, so that's an F sharp minor, E major, and just off to A major. Really great. You know, like that feels good coming home to that A major. Uh, and then so the outro kind of just vamps on the D, 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 uh, and then if we're doing Strokes bingo, Julian writing bingo, um, you know, you would want uh, studio outtakes. You would also want maybe a weird keyboard part that's in a different key that doesn't belong with the song, like a la "Ode to the Mets" intro or whatever. And so this has that with this F major kind of guitar, weird keyboard part at the end. So, uh, check it off for your bingo for Strokes, bingo. It, has weird stuff, has that going on for it. Um, but yeah, that is Liar's Remorse in a nutshell. Um, great vocal melodies, great, uh, great chord progression, nice and fun, little different. It's all good. Um, The Fruits of Conquest. A little switch of advancement, that is awesome. Fruits of Conquest. What do people think about this one? This was definitely the most grooving song on the album. This reminded me of something on the new Abnormal, um, because of like it just felt like a nice groove rock. They apparently they made it as a jam while they're in Costa Rica. Very funky. The bass line, I'm still working it out, but it's like this nice G minor. Really cool. Um, yeah. And also, Fruits of Conquest, um, had also kind of the perseverance to I never get this right. Perseverance, one chance to say. 1C2S. 1C2S. It has like a kind of reminds me of the drumming on Perseverance 1C2S. Great song as well. Um, yeah, the bass line, I definitely hear Flea bass line in the bass part here. Kinda reminds me of like, If You Want Me to Stay, which is obviously a cover of a George Clinton tune. But, still has like that kind of Flea bass. Sorry, I need to get a sip of coffee. Sorry, I am used to not live streaming, so I'm used to just drinking water. Not used to this. So thank you guys for your patience as I figure this out. And shout out to Diego. Um, but yeah, really cool groove. Uh, Someone was asking earlier about like favorite harmonic moments. I think it was Diego. Um, Favorite harmonic moments on the album, and this is one of these really crazy parts. It has I don't think the Strokes have ever done this before, where you could call it bitonality, which is when you're essentially in 2 different keys at once. So the song, this whole groove is G minor, C minor, and then there's that really weird part where this keyboard comes in, it plays an F, and then goes to the D, then plays a G flat, like, really dissonant, but sounds really good. It's definitely something like Void's level of strangeness, um, like Drifto had some kind of, like, bitonality, 2 different keys going on at once, and, um, uh, yeah, one of the weirdest parts of the whole album, I think probably it might be under the radar, but really weird idea to have the G like that. It's a minor 7, which is a dominant kind of sound, so that sounds good at first, and then you go down to that D, really dissonant. So, really dark, really dissonant, really original. Um, you know, Julian likes to name drop classical composers, and so, like, people like Bartók, uh, have been messing around with bitonality, Ravel messing around with bitonality. Um, so I don't know. I don't know where Julian picked this up. It's really cool. Glad to see he's doing it. You don't normally see this in mainstream rock music, so I mean, crazy stuff, right? Like, crazy, absolutely crazy. But yeah, really fun grooving song, great vocals. You still gotta write them all out. But, I don't know, what stood out to you most about it? Did that catch your guys' ear, that crazy part with the did that catch your ear? Like, was it just me that thought that was insane? Harmonic minor, yeah. Sorry, that's probably gross. Yeah, it's weird, right? Like, there's not a lot of keyboard on the album. There's some I mean, there's some on Dine and Dash, um, but that's definitely a part where there's a lot of keyboard. Um, thank you. Um, appreciate that. Um, yeah. Um, so I don't know. It's the reason why you listen to Julian Casablancas, right? Like, the dude is just trying to find crazy stuff that sounds original and unique, and he tries to bring it out and make it accessible. He's trying to do it with his politics too. Obviously, this album has some pretty, political moments lyrically going on, both about consumerism and, corporate capitalism, and, um, I think there's some veiled message about, like, Palestine and stuff like that in there too, so he he's always pushing the envelope and, like, I don't know, crazy idea, you know what I mean, to do that. It's you don't hear bitonality, in rock music generally. It's not common. A lot of political overtones. Yeah, in terms of checking off things on our bingo card for, um, for the Strokes album, there's some stuff about, turning off, obeying and stuff like that. "We won't obey," or, kind of reminiscent throwback line to, uh thanks for the hearts. Uh, uh, just, kind of a throwback to Human Sadness, right? Like, Human Sadness has that, vocoder moment, also weird bitonality, by the way, too. Void's been doing that for a while. Full circle moment. Human Sadness, during that part where it goes to that vocoder, it shouldn't work. He's singing an F on a chord that shouldn't have an F in it, but it works. Um, but, similar lyrical idea there. So, he's still on his political, mission to bring enlightenment to the masses, and musical novelty, musical, ideas, new ideas to music and stuff like that. So, really awesome stuff. Um, okay. We are political and musical enlightenment. Um, Tyrants of the Mellow Moon. Uh, this was a really cool one. I really enjoyed it, because it has, you know Go to Babylon is a great song. Definitely agree. Tyrants of the Mellow Moon. Um, yeah, it is another Secret Sauce song. That is true. It's, D minor, G major, C, F. So, yeah, one more day. A lot of auto-tune on that one, um, but, but, yeah. The intro is really cool too, and, it reminds me a lot of Foss Harp on, In Rainbows, the Radiohead album, masterpiece as well, um, where it's, let me get the goes up to E major, you get C major, it goes D, right? So, yeah, really cool, expressions too. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. I appreciate the really cool, intro to that. And it comes back obviously to, the outro where it kind of is returned to. And again, this is one of these things I was saying where, like, it's reminiscent of the intro on, uh, Psycho Shit. It's a different chord progression, but they're reminiscent of each other because of this sort of arpeggiated, way of hitting these notes. They have these tritones, um, and move these different kind of like the parallel major and stuff like that. So, um, it's a great way to start this track, and then it then just goes to that beautiful, uh, and just really catchy melody. So, I don't know. Yeah, another great song. it's as an album closer, it probably doesn't reach the level of, Ode to the Mets, right? But it's a great song. Um, it could probably, it's a great song. I don't know. What do you all think about that one? Do you think it's a good one? I think they thought it was gonna be called, Pros and Cons. I think this was one that was Pros and Cons, and then they changed it, to Terrace of the Mellow Moon, but I think it's a fun tune. So it's like 3 different songs with the secret sauce, um, 2 in the key of B flat, 1 in the key of C there, um, so, I think it's I think it sounds really good. Yeah, I think so too. Yes, that's a good point. You know, when the album ended, I was excited to start again, um, and there's something about those 2 chord progressions that I think are linked in a way. The opening chord progression is in the key of D and then moves to the key of, E in a way, but it's mainly in the key of D. It kind of borrows, modulates quickly to E, but it's mainly in the key of D. So this whole transition, it sort of is like a loop. I don't wanna say that it's, a cycle or a circle, um, album that repeats itself, but there's definitely, like, this kind of looping feel that, you know, leads one into the next, and, yeah, I was just excited to press play again, um, and listen all over again, and I don't know how many times I listened to the album today, but, I loved it. I love it. I think it's great. I'm really stoked about this more Void's direction that they're going in, um, and, yeah, amazing, you know? Um, so I don't know, as we wrap up, 'cause, we've been on here a little while, I appreciate all of you who've been on the whole time, gotta shout some of you all out. I just really appreciate you all being on, amazing, thank you so much. Um, figure out a way to do this. Grape Girl, Icy Rue, DL, Hornet Magic, OK Civic. Hey, man, you've been checking in, I appreciate you. Wisco, JP, 7 Foot Starfish, Nat, Nautical Grape, couple grapes here, Billy Ball, Ilisek, My Videos, Fabrizio. Oh, man. So, thank you all for going along on the ride. I appreciate you hanging out with me on a Friday night. Um, and, whoa, man, English pops in with a hot take at the end here. Sounds more interesting than good. Has 2 or 3 great songs. It's definitely very interesting. Definitely very interesting. I think that makes it good, but, uh, I, what I'm told is I like chaotic music, so maybe I'm not the best judge of things, but I like things that are maybe overly complicated, so maybe that's me, I don't know, but, I think it's great because it's really interesting. I like music that challenges my ear and makes me think, "What the hell was that? What did I hear?" Um, so well, that's some high thought there. I was gonna say philosophy. Um, um Well, Mr. English 3082, I am curious what you think the 2 great songs are. I am genuinely curious, um, and, I am curious, you know? Exotex. What's up? Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, yeah, what are your favorite tracks? I think I heard from some of you a lot of love for Liar's Remorse, Dine and Dash, um, a lot of love for different songs. I think it was really cool that there was no clear majority favorite. My dogs are also getting restless, so that's another reason why I think I'm gonna wrap soon. Um, Dine and Dash, Lonely, Fruits and Tyrants. Too much aura, thanks. Psycho Shit! Wow, vote for Psycho Shit. Respect, you know? Remorse. Alright, I'm hold on one sec. I'm having a lot of fun. I gotta go deal with my dog real fast. I will be right back. No, I don't know how to do that. Never mind. Mind. Dine and Dash in Babylon. Yeah, everyone has different favorites. That's pretty cool. Uh, no surprises that, I agree with you, Hornet Magic. Those are probably my 2 favorites as well. So things are things are as they should be. Um, but yeah. Well, again, folks, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Um, this has been a lot of fun. I mean, I love talking about the Strokes, love talking about the Voids, love talking about Julian's writing. Um, I love a challenge, and, uh, did I learn this album in time? No, I did not. Well, thank you. Um, and, you know, this is I'm just having a lot of fun with you guys. Oh, thanks for subscribing. You know, every bit helps. I do appreciate it. Uh, I I appreciate the community around the Strokes and the Voids. You if you are into doing stuff like this, you should do it too, by the way. Um, because the community around the Strokes, the Voids, it's awesome. Um, if you have any interest in doing something like this, you should totally do it because I'm having a lot of fun. You guys are all really cool. I think Strokes fans, Julian fans, like, I don't know, you just, uh we're cool people. I should say we. Um, so we're cool people, and, yeah. But, um, so stay tuned. I will have more videos making, I'm gonna now analyze each song on the album, going in order. Gonna do each song on the album, going in order. So, probably will not this week. So starting next week, I will be getting onto a kick of doing 1 video a week, Sundays, analyzing another song on the album, so stay tuned. I appreciate you all. Thanks so much. Take care. Enjoy the album. I do, yeah. Alright, see y'all.